Hello class, I hope you guys had a great weekend. Today we're going to continue our discussion about the giver, and we're going to also continue talking about what we did last week, which was about theses and claims. So, can any of you kind of recap for me what you learned last week about your thesis, like what you learned about your thesis? Yes?
Your thesis is an argument that you start an essay with.
That's great, that's exactly right. So your thesis is you're making an argument about something and then supporting the argument with claims. Now, the importance of claims and why they're significant is because you need to use evidence to support your claims. Now, evidence is something that when you're writing a paper can come from a variety of sources, but for your essays that are due next week, your evidence is going to come solely from the giver. Now, what do you think is important when you're using evidence or quotations to support your thesis? What is considered good evidence and what do you think maybe is bad evidence? I'll start. An example of good evidence is a quotation or when you're summarizing a paragraph and you use information that shows that your argument is valid and that your claim connects to your thesis. If it simply tells what you're trying to say, there's no point because it's being very redundant. Now, do you have any examples or ideas from the book or otherwise that you think would be a good example of evidence that you could use to support something? Yes?
Well, an example from the book for evidence would be the claim that the main character is becoming an individual, and as evidence, you can use the fact that he started seeing the apple as a color.
That's exactly right. Thank you so much, Paige. So instead of simply finding a quotation that says, Jonah is becoming a individual and he's becoming a grown person, by finding a quotation that actually shows that and demonstrates tangibly the fact that he can see this apple, then you're not simply regurgitating what you've already said. You're actually providing support for that. And another important thing when you're talking about claims is to use good connecting words. For example, this evidence is important, or this quotation is important because blah, 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 blah. So can you think of other good words such as because or therefore or thus that serve to connect or transition from one idea to the next in a paragraph? Because knowing these is really important when you're writing an essay.
In addition to?
Yeah, that's right. Thank you, Kim.
Furthermore?
Furthermore. Awesome. So I will hand out a worksheet at the end of class that will provide you guys with a large list of all these type of connecting words that you can use in your papers. One last thing is that in future papers that we're going to write at the end of the semester, when we're not using the giver as our primary source of evidence, you need to have reputable sources that you use. So if you're using outside sources, just remember to cite them correctly and to verify that they are actual factual sources. Thank you guys, and I hope to see you next class. All right, class, so to close up, I'm going to teach you guys a cheer that's going to be really helpful in helping you to remember what's important when you're writing a paper. So, here it goes. Claim, evidence, reasoning, the things to know when you're writing. Diction, structure, and good facts supports a thesis that will last. All right, so now I want to hear you guys chant back to me what we've practiced so you can write good papers on the giver.
1, 2, 3.
Claim, evidence, reasoning, the things you know
When you're writing.
Diction.
structure,
And good facts.
supports a thesis
That will last.